So next is Florian Zeilerbauer. Florian Zeilerbauer is Head of Credit Risk Management and Collection at UTA in Germany. And, well, we talked about IT projects and, of course, project management will focus also on non-technical challenges, well, in home offices times and, of course, in desirable projects in the area of transformation organization. So let's see what the experiences are from Florian here. Leading digitization projects and following digitization strategy. So welcome, and we are curious to hear about your insights. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome also from my side, and hello. As Robert mentioned, I'm Florian Zeilerbauer, and I'm working at the Untitled Chapter, which is the short form from UTA. As Robert mentioned, I will focus on the topic how to put all these changes into practice. Before I come to this, of course, our marketing department asked me to ensure that you understand how great UTA is as a company. Well, I know it already, but you probably not. And I try to convince you now. But now, seriously, I walk through these slides very quickly. If you have questions afterwards, please do not hesitate to contact me. UTA is part of the Edenred Group, which is the world leader in transactions for companies and employees, and UTA is part of this group. We have successfully processed more than 2.5 billion transactions in 2019. UTA specifically is offering fleet and mobility solutions, and this for more than 55 years. We have different services in place. One core is fuel cards with different brands. Also tolls, which means that if you have a commercial road transport, you can drive across the countries within Europe, or most of the countries, without leaving or stopping the car. Also, we have services in place for tax refund, so that you don't need to take care about all this administration things regarding tax in various countries. And of course, there's a part with vehicles we are also covering, like additional services. And of course, this all ends up into advantages for drivers, for instance, a very high number of acceptance points and further benefits, as well as for fleet managers. And as I promised, I hope that was quick enough for you and not too boring. I come now to the best practice part. What have we achieved? I think some impressive numbers. We have integrated into the CAM system more than 100,000 customers with more than 4.5 million accounting informations. We have all processes designed via, in my understanding, the state-of-art possibility to manage these things. And we have in place an automated limit management 24/7. Especially for our sales colleagues, I'm very proud that we have achieved to onboard new customers with a pre-check if they already exist within the company, and also the automatic identification of a company with several credit agency is working well and nearly fully automated. And we have also achieved to integrate the major credit information and services in further systems, in our case in Salesforce. Beside the slides, I want to share the reason behind we have chosen SCHUMANN as our provider. The first reason is that if you see here with more than 100,000 customers, and if you know how our business or core business is working, that means a driver comes to the fuel station, they refill their vehicle, and then go to the into the fuel station. And you can imagine if the card, the authorization tool is not working, they need to pay, and they are, I assume, not very amused about this, and also the turnover we are losing at this moment in time will never come back. And therefore, it's for us extremely important that all the techniques are proven, and that we are not having a high technical learn curve for these transactions. We have thousands of transactions per hour over the day, and you can imagine if the system would not be running adequate, or if only 20% of the customers are not provided with an adequate credit limit, this would end up into a huge challenge. Therefore, our assumption and decision was to work with a provider which is long on the market. In my understanding, SCHUMANN is nearly 25 years on the market, and the assumption was their learning curve is already done, or the main learning curve, and they have experience and they should know what they do. We have been also in contact with other providers, young companies, and the presentations were always good, and the promise is always high, but by the end of the day, if we ask for reference customers for related to a segment near to us, they always pass. What have we learned so far? Yeah, well, not a surprise, but worth to mention, I think, that our IT guys and the IT guys from SCHUMANN are talking a different language compared with my language or the language of my teams. Also, this is, by the other hand, an advantage, because with SCHUMANN we are directly connected with developer. That means there's no loss of information, because the information flow is too complicated and too complex, too many parties involved. There is the possibility to talk to them directly, and this is an advantage. The disadvantage you see here is that sometimes there's a misunderstanding. Also, the wording SCHUMANN is using internally is different from our wording for some vocabularies. We haven't recognized this at the beginning, but afterwards, after some time, we recognize, okay, this word means this for you, and the other side around. The technical challenge, yes, that was clearly the verification of the master data. That means that that you have the provider ID stored in your customer master file. As we are active in whole Europe, we are working with several credit agency providers, and every of them are working a little bit different, and it was necessary to adjust all these rules in detail, which was time consuming. And as in our IT environment, it was not possible to provide for every scenario a testing environment, and therefore it was necessary to make updates directly in productions, in the production system, and of course this caused also downtime with further systems. In the slide before I show you, we are connected with Salesforce. If we run an update, Salesforce is down too. And the rest, yes, I think it is a good approach not to customize too much before you go live, because to anticipate the real world is quite challenging. If you do it after the go live, I think it's more smooth and more efficient. And also, not a surprise, I think for all of us is that the master data cleansing is very important and key, and yeah, but a difficult topic, I think. Now I come to the part where it's not so technical. Why I'm focused so much on the not technical side, I will explain you shortly, because based on my experience also outside of UTA for the last 20 years, and based on studies here, I give you 2 examples. The main challenges and obstacles you are facing via a project are not really related to the technique. And now I come to the second point why we have chosen Schumann. And this is we have a partner which provides us with all we need for the technical part. They provided us to-do list and everything. They know what they are talking about. They have done this already with some companies in our segment, and therefore we rely on them, and this was working well. This makes us able to focus on the not technical parts, which is, from my perspective, the most important one. Yes, and yeah, you probably know for sure the Chinese wall. That means we have separated the project management with the operational part of this area to avoid that we are continuous influencing the operational the project team with operational tasks. Of course, the operational guys, they never stop to raise new ideas and raise challenges they find out. And then I come to a not so easy topic. This is for me the resource management. That means if you are starting with a big project, I think it's not a smooth solution to put this on top on your operational team. By the end of the day, they will realize that you think they are not fully loaded with work in their daily routine. And by the end of the day, I faced many times that the people really, not on purpose, work against the project because they want to prove it's not possible for them to deliver, because they are so busy with the operational part already. That brings me to the next point, the comparison between external and internal project management. My advice would be the external project management should run very well if you have a business which is known for all the external project companies. If you are a manufacturer selling products B2B, I think you should go for this. In our case, special services, there are not 100 companies around making the same. It's the special knowledge. You should go internally. My next point is I don't understand digitalization as a project. It should be going on and on without any stop. As you see on the right-hand side, the development of the techniques and new systems, new possibilities is growing dramatically. That means all areas, all companies should not stop to develop their way to work, the processes and the workflow. That brings me to the next advantage from my perspective Schumann is providing. How can you be aware of all the possibilities which may come up? It's always good to have a provider which is driving such topics proactively. And Schumann already provide us several ideas, possibilities and modules we can add on or we can change, which is very good and comfortable that somebody is driving this topic also outside of our company. And they give us new inspirations. Of course, there are several other possibilities to pick up such new informations. I listed them here in this slide. If I look to the project team, for me it was very important to somehow lower the home office impact. I'm tired to use the word COVID, therefore I call it home office impact. And yeah, I think it's very important to pick up the subtext, to give them an environment where they can raise their concerns and everything without an informal way. Therefore, I have met them very frequently. Even it's not a face-to-face, it's a mask-to-mask, but at least the body language and between the line communication is still possible. The last slide is regarding the acceptance of the users. I think this is the last, but perhaps one of the biggest challenges in every project. That means you have developed something, you are ready to go, the system is running, now the users needs to change their behavior. They are losing all their knowledge, the routine is gone, and be sure they are running into different phases, like a hype cycle, you call it. I have here one example on the right-hand side. That means for me it's very important, and I'm focused, I'm not saying it's always easy, to understand where they are, to ensure that you support them in the best possible way. For instance, if they are in the depression, you should motivate them, for instance. Okay, that was already the last slide, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
So, thank you very much for this presentation. So, what is very important from my view is to have a different view on projects. So humans are part of that to steer a project, taking into account that people have to be onboarded, have to be organized somehow, have to be motivated. Well, one of the trends, what I see in IT is more or less the agile approach to incorporate people. So how do you see that handling this buzzword agile? Are you an agile approved company, meanwhile, expertise in that? Is that how difficult is that to move towards a more agile project management style? If you could give a flavor.
Yeah, that's absolutely, I think, the main challenge in my daily business, for sure. This is an ongoing process. We are, especially if you look in accounting, people, usually they are comfortable with a routine which is not so frequently changing from their behavior. Yeah, they are more focused on figures, and this is a challenge for them. Yeah, and this is, I think, an ongoing process. By the end of the day, I don't believe they will end up in such a agile behavior as, for instance, some sales guys or some creative workers, but the first signs are very positive, and they have understood the environment outside of the company is changing dramatically. It makes no sense if the company is stuck on the old behavior forever. That's logic, and this is supporting this approach.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's a challenge for so many companies. Of course, when you are thinking about, and that is the next point that I wrote down immediately when you raised that point, the constant improvement, how to organize constant improvements of organizations, of technology, and this is something that is really, en vogue, I would say, in the companies, but not so easy and really quite difficult to organize. So that was a fantastic insight.
Yeah, I think also this is a great point. We are providing services. We are not providing products. Our product is the service, and we need to be on top on the change and the possibilities and new chances different providers are ending up with. I think this is my part, the main part of my job, to ensure this and to pick up the people. As you said.
Fantastic. So your own job has a certain impact on that because it has changed in a certain way, a different direction. So well, and that makes life colorful. That things are changing and there are new challenges. And I think another and last point here is to partner to buy in expertise from partners like Schumann or others regarding services and product developments that you're looking for in your overall company.
And there's also a proactive exchange with Schumann. They are asking about my feedback. What do you think about this idea, and so on. And I'm feeling really a part of the development.
Yes, and thank you very much that we are part of your team.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.